Welcome, everyone. It's February 17th, and this is Fierce Friday with the Million Mom movement. I was going to say the Million Mom Club because I'm so excited to announce the Self-Love Club that we've got on here today. Miss Rita Fleming, Miss Carrie Tidwell, Miss Kimberly Sanders. So this is going to be a packed call. So my name is Michelle Ricci, and I've been with the Million Mom Movement since October, and I'm so passionate about it because I get to do things like this and interview people who inspire me and spread love and spread this health and wealth community across the globe. So I'm joined by my council members, Miss Nieva Flore and Carmela Velarde. So today is self-love through self-care and nutrition, and self-love starts with self-care. It's really a crucial part of it, and nutrition is part of this. So I am excited to be talking to some women who really embody this practice, and their stories are incredible. So it's exciting to be able to highlight their voices, and you're going to hear a lot about how nutrition plays a role in self-love and how they got to where they are today and how they move this into the world and help inspire others to take good care of themselves. So before we get started, I want to pass off to Miss Carmela, and she is going to start us off with an in the news piece about this very topic. You're still muted, love.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Michelle. Happy Friday. Happy Fierce Friday. So I'm going to share in the chat an article that we found that would support our topic today. And if you can all just save it to your screen, I'll pull it up here as well for you guys to look at for our topic of self-love and self-care through nutrition. So this article is a self-love diet, emotionally healthy ideas that we think you'll love. And this integrative nutritionist named Jenny Maramati, she shares how changing what you eat can radically improve your life, from making you feel better in your body to improving your energy to helping you overcome major health issues. And she says you cannot create lasting change. When you come from a place of self-loathing, shaming yourself into eating healthy food, it just doesn't work. And when you believe that you're worthy of caring for yourself, you'll instinctively put your health and body first. So starting with a self-love diet, it connects with the idea that you deserve to feel good in your body, then love your body by nourishing it with a nutrient-rich, real whole foods diet that will make you feel amazing from the inside and out, and that you will fill your plate with protein, healthy fat, fiber-rich carbs. And this macro combo will not only satiate you, it will stabilize your blood sugar and give you sustained energy that you will feel fabulous with. But we'll take it an extra extent by including micronutrition today in our talk. Eat mindfully. You show your body love by tuning into mindfully when you eat. When you put all the distractions away, like your phone, your computer, and TV, so that you can be totally present with your food. I like this one. Eat slowly. A lot of people don't do that or choose slowly. Tasting every bite of food and noticing the hunger levels in your stomach as you eat. This will assist you greatly. When your stomach is physically full, just stop eating. Honor your body and listen to what it needs. And that includes connecting to the amount of food that you're physically hungry for. And then she shares, trust your body. You're the best judge of what's working for your body, not your coach, not your mom, not your friend who you're eating with, you. So if there's a particular diet that works for you, then, and some people it might make them feel unwell, well, just respect your body by trusting what it's telling you. Let go of perfection. When you aim for diet perfection, you don't make room for real life situations where you'll need the flexibility to deviate from your diet. And because no one is perfect, it's inevitable that things won't go the way you want them to. So when this happens, you'll always end up feeling less than. So create an attainable goal for yourself, or with yourself and a coach, and show yourself by letting go of perfection, allowing yourself to be the best you can be, because it's good enough. Notice your feelings. At the outset of working with some of her clients, they found that it was impossible to stick with a healthier way of eating. They think it would be, and they felt deprived and ultimately reverted back to how they ate before. But the same clients started connecting with how the food made them feel, and that made all the difference. So the most powerful tool you have to do right now by your body is to notice how the food you eat makes you feel and to let that guide you. And lastly, be kind to yourself. If you feel like you fall off track with your food, don't let the voices in your head tell you that you're not good enough creep in. You're doing your very best. So those seemingly harmless whispers are actually very toxic, damaging, and taking a major toll on your self-worth. If you've been diminishing yourself in this way, it's time to change how you speak to yourself. So pay close attention to your thoughts. Each time you catch your inner critic on attack, pause and say, nope, I will not talk to myself like this. I deserve better. Then speak to yourself with kind and compassionate words that you really deserve to hear. And I thought it was a wonderful article. I look forward to this talk, and I pass the word on.
Thanks, Carmela. Great article that completely connects with what we're doing here today, definitely. And I love this, being kind to yourself. And really around eating, we had a topic a couple of weeks ago about emotional eating and how it's not just eating when we're sad, it's eating to celebrate, and connecting it to we eat no matter what our emotions are, and to be able to connect those dots and really notice how you feel. And I think that's what we've all experienced here with Purium and the superfood nutrients. Is it's like the minute you put it in your mouth, it's like tasting liquid sunshine. And for some people, that's the first experience that they have where they're deeply connecting to the food that they're putting in their mouth or why they might be eating it. So I'm super excited to highlight these ladies today. One of the things that I did when I was recovering from an injury, like around food, because everything I put in my mouth was unsafe at the time because my body was so reactive. So I just started with what I could, and I would set my table. And even if I was just preparing some grapes because that was all I could eat, I would put them on a plate and put a napkin down and sit down and put my phone away and make it, really pray for everybody that ever touched those grapes, from the seeds to the cashier that checked me out, that, their families are protected and that we're all nourished. And hopefully people don't have to get to a point of being that sick to really start acknowledging and taking time and space with the food and how they nourish themselves with food or with conversation or with their work environment or the things that they do. And so that's what we're going to talk to these ladies about today. So the first person I want to pull up is Carrie Tidwell. So Carrie, if you don't mind hopping off mute, what I really want to talk to these ladies about today, and what you're going to hear me talk to these ladies and the questions you're going to hear me asking, is about how they got to the point of really paying attention to why this matters and why they're so passionate about it today. So Carrie, I know that we were talking a little bit yesterday, and it was really interesting. You were super curious from a young age. So do you mind sharing your story with us of what led you to regenerative health?
Yeah, thank you. And I love this topic and this call. And so yeah, when I was younger, I always asked, why should I eat this orange instead of a Twinkie? What does it do in my body? And if this Twinkie is on the shelf, it should be safe, right? Why are these products on the shelf if they're not? And so I had this curiosity from a young age, but I didn't have the guidance. I didn't know. And then as I got older, I was, had this fruit fear because I've heard, fruit is too much sugar. And so I just felt like growing up, I've gotten misinformed, or what I've come to learn is I've been misinformed, and I had to unlearn and then relearn. And so it started with that curiosity at a young age. But when I started to see my dad suffering with his health, I always thought, why is this happening? And, we're just taught like it's, genetic stuff. And then I was assuming like, well, maybe I have a bad back because my dad has a bad back, or I have dark circles and bags under my eyes because of my grandma. And watching my dad suffered, I started to question, like, why is this happening? How can I prevent or be proactive? And I ended up like reading a book called The Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, and just getting curious and wanting to learn all the natural remedies. Cause I'm like, there's gotta be a natural, oh, hold on one second. My son is yelling in the background. Okay,
That's so
1 second. Okay. And I might have to go wash his hands because he's like really, he doesn't like his hands being dirty. But if he calls me again, I might have to step out for a second. Yeah, can I take a pause and attend to him?
Yeah, we can pivot, Carrie, and come
Let's
back.
pivot, I'll come back.
Absolutely. And that's what's so beautiful about this community, isn't it? Is that we get to do this on our own terms. And I'm really hoping you guys, I'm going to make it through this without choking up as I'm talking to each of these women, because they're so inspiring, and what we're doing here and what we have the ability to do and the freedom it provides us, it lights me up to the point of speechlessness almost every time, and it takes my breath away. So Miss Kimberly Sanders, let's move to you and we'll get started with you, and we'll come back to Carrie. So we were talking the other day and you were telling me about how food was really, even as young as your mama's breast milk, it just was not safe. Like it was not safe for you to be in the world with food and your relationship with it. And maybe just take us through your journey of how you got here.
Carrie's back, so why don't we let her keep going if you want to. Do you want to?
Okay, great.
Yeah, I can keep going. Sorry about that.
Thanks for the flexibility, everybody. Okay, Carrie, yay.
Okay, so yeah, I started to question like, why is this happening? And as I started to have my own health challenges, then I started to really question, like I was getting kidney infections at a young age, UTIs all the time in high school. And I remember growing up with chronic ear infections, growing up on antibiotics, and I hated taking medication. There was just something that it didn't resonate with me. And, as I got older, I learned like antibiotic stands for against life. So it kills all the good and all the bacteria, everything. And it diminishes your good, healthy gut microbiome and really depletes you. And so I started to have all these other health issues as I started to get older. I had chronic sciatica, low back pain. I had a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. I just always felt inflamed. And after, like I knew I wanted, so fast forward years later, I wanted another baby. I had a daughter at the time, and I thought there's no way I can bring in a baby if I have a hard time getting out of bed because of how inflamed I was. And I started to get weird symptoms like getting lightheaded every time I stood up. I just felt like, I felt like I was 90 in my early 20s and 30s. Like I couldn't stand up straight when I would get up in the morning, and I thought it was my bed's fault, or, I just was like, there's got to be another way. Like this isn't normal to feel this way in my body at this young of an age. And so that really got me to question and seek out. And about 7 years ago is when I found my teacher in regenerative health and learned like regenerative detoxification and getting to the root cause. And once I learned this information, it was like, it spoke to my soul. Like everything resonated, everything made sense. It was like, yes, why haven't we been taught this information? And so I started to apply it. And within, I noticed a difference within a few days and a couple weeks. I couldn't believe all the stuff that was coming out of me. And what I learned too is what we don't eliminate, we accumulate in the body. And I've accumulated a lot of stuff. I mean, I grew up on Little Debbie brownies, like all the processed cereals. I would watch the TV commercials and go to the grocery store with my dad and want to buy all the cereal. And I was taught milk does a body good, so I drank tons of milk, and I was always congested, always had the ear infections. And so, like I said, I had to unlearn and relearn, and I learned through my body. So I love that article that Carmela brought up, is like really tuning into the body. And so I was tuned in. Like I like to share with people, listen to your body when it whispers so you don't have to hear it scream. Well, my body was like whispering from a young age, and it was screaming by the time I was in my 20s and 30s. And I just didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know where to go. And so grateful that's when I landed on regenerative health. And within 3 months, I had so many symptoms in my body improve that I thought was kind of normal. Like I thought it was normal to have painful menstrual cycle. I thought it was, normal to get sick a few times a year. I thought it was normal to just have lower energy. I didn't know what true energy was like until 3 months. I was like, wow, like my body wanted to get out of bed. It was like my mind wasn't caught up yet because I was so programmed to like want to hit snooze and not want to get out of bed. But this was different. It's like something totally shifted. And after 3 months, I was like, my body was ready to get up and move and dance. And like, I never felt that surge of energy in my life. And then what I learned too was a lot of our food isn't grown properly or picked at peak ripeness. And so I was inspired like 6 years ago to put a permaculture garden in my yard. And so I knew we needed help with soil health. I didn't know anything about this company and community at that time. So I was trying to just do the best I could with what I had. And I'm in Minnesota and we have a short growing season. And so I'm so grateful that a friend introduced this to me. So I was able to bring this in not only my own life and my own family, but I was able to help other people through these regenerative protocols and superfoods. So merging our regenerative health background combined with these regeneratively grown foods. And it's just been a huge game changer, physically, financially, emotionally, like all of it. And I love supporting regenerative agriculture, and I just absolutely love this community. And so that's kind of my quick backstory of how I got into regenerative health and the self-care thing. Is once I started to feel the difference in my body, I naturally didn't want to go back to those other foods. It took a while though, because, you're so, like Michelle said, like you go to family functions, you go to different events, and we're surrounded by food. And so I had to do a lot of like different healings with that, like the social aspect as well. And so I just, because I was a people pleaser, and I don't know if anyone can relate to this. Like I was brought up, like if someone feeds you, you eat it. You don't question, you don't say no. And so like I would just eat. And I remember when I was going through my process, like I didn't want to hurt my aunt's feelings. And so I ate it, even though it didn't make me feel good. And then I was like, why? And then I questioned, like, why am I doing this to myself? And it was good to go through all of those things, because I had to figure out like how to really to recognize that within myself, of like that people pleasing aspect. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to advocate for yourself in a loving way and say like, I already ate, or no, thank you, or like figure it out, but to not offend anybody, but also still hold true to what you need. And this is something I really had to work on. It was a pattern that I had from childhood, not wanting to make people feel uncomfortable or anything like that. So this is, a whole nother subject that we can probably go down, but I just started to get more in touch with, when I eat certain foods, how it makes me feel. And then I could literally turn on and off my inflammation by like what I ate, and I was conscious of it. And as I started to share this information with other people, it was incredible to see the results, like people who are ready for a change. People were able to, get to the root of thyroid conditions, autoimmune issues, gut health. Like so many things can get better once we understand what our body is asking and requesting. And so I like to share too, like pain is a request for change. If my back was hurting that bad, like I had to figure it out. And that's what, the uncomfortableness in my body, always ask why and question getting to the root cause. And once I discovered that root cause and experienced this transformation within myself, I can never go back. And now I just want to keep improving and take my health to the next level, and then inspire other people to do the same. And ever since I started changing my diet, I've just been doing other self-care things, because when we fill our cup, we can give from a full cup instead of feeling depleted. And so anytime I have something going on in my life, I always think like, how can I take better care of myself? How can I show up differently, or how can I show up better, whether it's in communication, food, anything. So I always look at what can I do? And every time I change my diet and lifestyle and take really good care of my health, it just has this beautiful ripple effect, not only on those around me, but I truly believe the world. So when we start to listen to our whispers and make the shifts and changes that we're inspired to, it really blesses everyone around us.
Beautiful, Carrie. Thank you so much. So relatable, and you're getting so much love in the comments. I think you really spoke to each person individually and as a collective. drop a 5 in the comments if you related to some part of what Carrie was saying. Yeah. Yeah, and it's true, right? I mean, we always hear put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and it's true. It really is true. Mom ain't happy, nobody's happy, right? But there's no reason for mom not to be happy and calm. Life is still going to happen, but we can respond. We have the ability to respond from a calm nervous system and from a place where life is easy to digest, even when it's chaotic, that we have the tools and we know what to do. And I know, when I'm not feeling good, the first thing that I do is go make myself a round of nutrients. And because then I know when it's in there, I can like think straight and understand what the next step is. And Carrie, what I really love about your story and what you were saying is it seemed like you always had this curiosity of like, why, but not like, why is this happening to me? Which I think is one way to be, but that also like, why from the curiosity standpoint of like, wait, why did I make that decision? Why didn't I just say no? Oh, I have the ability to say no. And then just, continuing to really be true and starting to listen to yourself. And that is the first piece of self-care is not rejecting what your body is trying to tell you and actually tuning into it. So thank you so much for your beautiful testimony, and know that we're going to have questions here. And I just really appreciate you and love you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to share one more thing. Watching my dad with all those health struggles and watching him suffer into his later years, that was like I'm grateful for that teacher in him. As much as I wanted him to change and shift, I had to have like detached compassion and love him where he was at, which I'm so grateful for. And I'm grateful that he inspired me to question and take really good care of myself. And so sometimes when we could think it could be we going through tough times, or whether it's with ourselves or family members, like you said, like this is happening for me, and how can I learn and grow from this and focus on the positive. And I'm grateful for my dad for that, of inspiring me to take really good care of myself and being that great teacher that I needed, and of compassion and self-love. So I just wanted to share that.
Beautiful, Carrie. And I think that's great for all of us to hear, right? Like, how many of you know at least 10 people in your immediate circle that need these nutrients and are hardly even talking to you because they don't want to talk about it, right? And so detached compassion, I think, is a really great couple of words to write down on your notepad, because we get to really just love people and lead by example, and just be like, no for now, no for now, and sneak it in when we can, and just, have compassion for them. I know with my mom, she's in her 80s and she doesn't want to hear anything, and she is going to run it until she short circuits and falls over. And I could never get, I haven't been able to get a green shake in her yet, but someday maybe, but I'm still going to love her, and she gets to have that life experience as well. And I get to let that inform me about how I'm going to live mine. And so I think that's a perfect segue over to Miss Kimberly Sanders and Kimberly's story. And Kimberly, I'm just going to pass the mic because I think you can roll with this and introduce yourself and how you got here. And I just love you so much, girl.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Carrie. Your story is amazing. And I've heard your name and gotten to see your face for so long. And it's an honor to get to share this, this space with all of you. I get to look out and see so many faces and know that we have all come to this place because we've learned to love ourselves. And really, like, this topic is my whole entire life. And so I'm really honored to get to speak on this. And if I think about all of the work that myself and my teammates that are here are doing, Eric Worre says, where were you before, and your story, and then what you're excited about. So I'm excited to share this with you all. And I went through pictures of my life, and I've been called a transformation quarterback back in the day, even before Purium. And of course, I get to work with an ultimate lifestyle transformation company as we end human suffering. And human suffering is so dynamic on so many levels for all of us, and it means so many different things. So I luckily came into this world allergic to almost everything. My mother's milk, I was allergic to wheat, sugar, dairy, all of it. So it put me on this trajectory, as I see it now, as really like the greatest gift ever, because I couldn't eat dairy. I couldn't eat wheat. My mom had to figure out how to feed a child, all the things that we're trying to feed our children now, all of us. And I realized like, it was such a journey on so many levels, but I also wound up getting strep throat a lot. And when Carrie said about the antibiotics, I didn't even think of that. So that kind of threw everything off for quite some time too. When I was 9, I decided to be plant-based because I saw the fish gasping for air on the side of the bank after my dad catching the fish. And so I have a 9-year-old fairy god baby, and I think of like where I was at 9 years old to be like, I'm letting go of all of these things. So if you think about Purium and all the ways that we're guiding people to keep letting go of things that no longer serve them, I've just been on this path since I was 9 years old, and just turned 45 in January, and have gotten to be basically plant-based. When I was 30, I tried to eat some fish, and it just didn't really do anything for me. So I'm just so thankful that I've gotten to have so many different experiences with food to be able to lay it out for my clients, right? So in the process of being raised in a very, I don't know, just really interesting mindset way. I speak very little to that these days, but like it was one of the most controlled environments that you could have ever imagined. So in the process of that, I needed to like find my freedom. Luckily, the food was there. And I went to beauty school when I was 16. And so I was able to move out and be free, and starting to like learn how to love the body that I live in front of the mirrors of countless salons for decades. So that also is nice that I've been putting all of these different chemicals in my body. So I get to detox that now with all of Purium. But around 24 years old, I really stepped into self-development and like learning to forgive and the whole piece. So talk about self-love and all of it, and just learning how to undo all of the past conditioning and the things that are no longer serving. In 2007, I got to take yoga teacher training and learn to love my body more. I shaved all my hair off in 2007, and to learn to truly love the body that I was living in, and to just keep letting go of the guilt and the judgment and the shame and all of these things that I get to be space for now with all of my clients and all of the people and all of my team. And so to understand like the suffering that we're all going through on all the different years of our lives. And now we have a platform of Purium to be able to just shine this light. Like I always say, I'm just like up there, like angling the light so that all of my clients and all of my builders can see the light within themselves. And so all of that pain, all of that stuff that went through, it was such the perfect situation for this now. So in 2009, I got to go and start working with David Wolf and Gabriel Cousins. I started doing raw food and got really, really systematic with that, and pretty much was the start of my journey of understanding superfoods and all of that. And so I got to be a part of like my first network marketing company. It was a superfood company, and it was like packages of goji berries, packages of like all the different things. So it's like, so then I started to become a mixologist, and I got to be paid a lot of money. Sometimes I would be flown out by Dell 3 years in a row and helping mix superfood smoothies out there. So that's how I've become this master mixologist in Purium now, and helping my clients be able to mix and match and have these grand ways of living this superfood lifestyle and having people feel worthy and deserving. And so I had to step into that feeling of worthy and deserving and all of that in order for me to be space for my clients and my teammates to truly step into this self-love and step into this way of being. And that's why we're all here. And that's what we're all doing. And to watch each other rise and shine and just like it is phenomenal to get to see every single person and the people that dive into this superfood lifestyle. The activation, it's a cellular activation. And I have a song that I hope that everybody will get to hear. I'll put it in the comments when I'm done sharing, but it's a cellular activation. And so I send it to all of my clients, and we're just here to do this. And so I get to have this incredible team now of just like these beautiful people. And the more that I love myself and get to have this experience, the more they stepped into it as well. And, you know, I'm really honored that my why has, like in the beginning, when I started writing it, it was always like, I'm gonna save the rainforest and I'm gonna like take all the plastic out of the oceans and I'm gonna do all these things. And like, when money is nothing, like I'm taking care of the whole entire world, and we're gonna get rid of all of the poison, all of the things. And so I got to join David Sandoval, and all of you get to as well. And I put my whole month check with him, and I get to be one of the first partners that went in on the Plastic Free Alliance with him. And I put my money where my mouth is. And I gave the whole Black Diamond check to Dave, and I'll do it again and again and again, because the trust that I have in this world and in this community and in Dave is otherworldly. You know, I've been living this superfood lifestyle now for about 18 years, and I eat this food all day long and sometimes all night long. And I've gone through 5 years of dedicating to an ultimate lifestyle transformation. And every once in a while I'll go eat veggies somewhere down the street or something, but it's very rare. But when I do, I'm signing the girl up behind the counter. And, you know, people reach out and they say, how do you get to do what you do? And it's like, it's all of these years of self-loathing, of self-doubt, of not believing in ourselves, not seeing ourselves clearly, and then flipping that and knowing that we have the greatest gift at our fingertips to be able to offer every single person. And then to mention the healing that comes from removing glyphosate from our gut microbiome. And then to mention the ability to empower people like my Gina, like my Tammy, like all of these beautiful people, and they are going to be financially free. And I get to do that because for years I helped people feel beautiful. I stood behind that chair. And yesterday was the first day I got to remove the pain in my shoulder that's been there for 28 years. So the gift of removing human suffering, that is what has happened because I joined Purium, and I've been able to swim every day, every other day, and depending on if we have a brain partner coming in, and then really take time to heal my body and really love my body. I've tattooed it, I've learned, but the self-loathing that I've gone through in this body, it's like, it doesn't even, it's why I get to be here. And so I know that everybody resonates with this so much. I know we come in with Purium with eating disorders, body image issues, all these different things. And when you know that you've taken all of the poison out of your body and you're in full control of what you put in your mouth, you will love yourself. You will remove all of your own self-loathing, all of the self-judgment, because you're in control, possibly for the first time in your life. So I feel like I could keep going, but I don't know where I am with time. So
We're good. Beautiful. Kimberly, first of all, check out the chat. You're getting so much love. This call is gaining so much momentum as we go. Absolutely powerful. So what you're feeling right now in your body, what Kimberly has ignited inside of you is full potential. It's your full potential. Not one of us has any more potential than the other. Not one of us. Bob Proctor says that's baloney. Well, he doesn't say that's baloney, but he says it's not true. And I don't think we should talk about baloney on this call anyways. However, we all have this potential. This isn't about Kimberly having done this for 20 years or being on the right path or introduced to the right people. She literally came out allergic to everything. It was a curiosity that happened that took her from victimhood, why, woe is me, to why is this a thing? This can't be right. It doesn't feel right. There must be another way. And that's what we get to flip inside of ourselves. If a conversation is hard, if a situation is hard, if our digestion isn't going right, we get to just pause and say, and check in with ourselves. That's the only difference here. And we all possess the ability to do that. Kimberly, thank you so much. My just heart explodes hearing you talk, and it steeps me further into what is possible and the absolute belief in what I'm doing and where I'm going, even though I don't know exactly how I'm getting there yet. I am 1000% positive that what we're doing, we're on the right track, and that these are the people I want to be doing it with, every single one of you, including you, Kimberly. Thank you so much. Woo, whose heart's wide open? Let's see if I can introduce my next guest without totally breaking down. Near and dear to my heart, Miss Rita introduced me to regenerative health and has set me on the path to setting my body free and releasing one of the most toxic traumas I've ever experienced in my life, and that I wish nobody to have to go through. And she has her own beautiful story of, I know, Rita, when we were talking the other day, and you grew up in a household that really instilled these philosophies and beliefs in you, and had a beautiful upbringing full of fresh fruits and vegetables and superfoods. And so what happened for you, and how did you turn the corner and really, really get steeped into what you're doing now?
Thank you, Michelle. I'm in tears over here. From your story, from Kimberly's story, from Carrie's story, all of you are really near and dear to my heart, and just amazing to see what you all have walked through, and then how many people you're helping as a result. So thanks, Michelle. And yeah, you know, I grew up with a lot of access to nature, creativity, getting outside, practicing alignment yoga, which really is just supporting your nervous system and your spine to be super strong. And as a result of that, it allowed me to really regulate my nervous system, which gave me a lot of self-confidence and a lot of self-worth. So I just wanted to give that to everyone I knew. Like if somebody was being bullied or picked on in school, I would just reflect back to them how amazing they are, because I wanted them to know how incredible they are. Because when you understand your self-worth and your self-value, you can't help but give that to other people. That's all you want to do. So that was a really beautiful blessing growing up. And then when I was 19, I was in a near-death car accident where I broke 16 bones. I couldn't walk for a year and a half. And I was told I would never get back to normal activities again. And so that was really challenging for me at the time, because at the time I was one of the fastest girls in the state. I was an avid athlete. I had a vision of, becoming a pro athlete. And, some of my strengths were with writing and words and being able to connect things that were seemingly unconnected. And after my accident, it would take me 3 hours to write a paragraph. So it actually took so much self-compassion to move through that experience, because there was self-rejection after the car accident, right? Because I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror. I couldn't do the same things I used to be able to do mentally. I couldn't do any of the things that I used to be able to do physically. So I had to relearn how to love myself and accept myself. And that took immense amounts of compassion. And I had to see everywhere I was rejecting myself and learn how to bring self-acceptance there. So that was a huge, huge teaching for me. And if you talk to people who have been through near-death experiences, you'll often hear them say, you know, as they passed over and came back, I had an out-of-body experience where I chose to live. I chose to stay here because I felt like I had so much more work to do. But in that experience of leaving my body and coming back, I felt so much unconditional love. And you'll hear this from other accounts from other people that have experienced those near-death experiences. It's an unconditional love that I can't put words to. It was unlike anything I'd never felt before. And so I've been able to carry that feeling and that experience with me since that event. And so it's something that I teach my clients. It's something that I teach in, you know, my yoga classes. And it comes so much back to this place of deep surrender and learning to unconditionally love ourselves. And it's just a practice, right? It's like, okay, how much love can I bring to this moment? Great. How much more love? How much deeper can I go? How much more can I surrender? And so that's been a really neat experience to translate and transfer. But I had a long journey ahead of me as far as healing goes. I had chronic pain for 12 years, and I was looking for every solution possible. And when I was, you know, when I went to the hospital afterwards and I was talking to the doctors and the specialists, and they told me that I'd never surf again or never run again or never play basketball or climbing or mountain biking or get back to any of the things that I loved so much, I sat in the car in the parking lot at the hospital and just cried for like 3 hours. I couldn't even drive. I was like just sobbing. And I made the decision then that that wasn't going to be my reality, that I was 100% going to find a way through this. And I was going to find solutions. So that set me on a path of studying everything you can imagine, from Eastern medicine to Western medicine to emotional healing to spiritual well-being to nutrition, and just looking for solutions. And eventually I found Dr. Robert Morse's works with Carrie Tidwell. And he was the first person that said to me, Rita, you can 100% heal your spine. You can regenerate it and you can get through this. And, you know, I'd broken eight vertebra, 5 of my transverse processes off. And the spinal specialist was like, I've never seen anybody survive this. We don't know how to, you know, say what your future is going to be like. And so somebody coming in and just saying, yes, you can regenerate. And it's just a matter of getting your body alkaline and a matter of supporting your body with the proper internal terrain, you know? And so that set me just on this trajectory of studying and diving in. And through those works, I was able to get out of chronic pain. And I was able to reclaim my quality of life. And what I learned, you know, over this past 17 years of diving in this way, is the power of nutrition and trauma healing. And that's where my biggest passion lies. And I learned, you know, there's no one that goes through this life without experiencing some form of trauma. You know, we're all working on something. It might look completely different for all of us, but we're all working on something. And trauma is really just any experience where you didn't feel safe, whether that was mentally or physically or emotionally. And that gets stored in our cells, it gets stored in our body, it gets stored in our lymphatic system. And what I learned through adding in these nutrient-dense foods and alkalizing my body and supporting all of my systems of elimination is we can release that trapped and stored trauma at the cellular level. And that was huge for me. That was so healing. It really helped me work through not only the physical aspects of getting out of pain, but the PTSD symptoms, you know, and moving through the emotional aspects of it. So On the other side of this whole experience, I'm actually walking out so empowered, because at the beginning of it, I was told, a very deep story of fear of like, you're never going to get back to any of your activities. This is how your life is going to look. You're going to be in suffering for the rest of your life. And it was coming from the top down, of everyone in a place of power who's had so many years of experience, and what I'm walking through with this is just so much empowerment of what our bodies are capable of. And, that's coming through on the physical level and the emotional level and the nervous system level of healing. And our bodies are amazing and capable of way more than what we're taught to believe. So having these tools and having these resources and then integrating Purium in over the last 3.5 years has been life-changing for me. And I was wondering, like, what am I missing? What is it? And that's when I really learned about the soil health component and how nutrient dense these foods are, and the way that they're grown and the way that they're wind dehydrated to preserve the living enzymes and the biodiversity. And within 3 days of adding these superfoods in, the lights just came on in my body. And after 90 days, I got back to a level of athleticism I hadn't been in for 15 years. So it was the first time I felt like I truly came home to myself in 15 years. And like, there's nothing that can describe that gift of coming home to yourself. And that really is that self-love, coming home to yourself at that cellular level where you feel at home, where you recognize yourself. It's huge. So that's the biggest gift. And I want to continue to pass that forward, as well as this education of what our bodies are capable of doing. So yeah, that's how I got into it, Michelle. And it's just been a powerful journey, and it will continue. And I'm learning more every single day, but I'm very passionate to move this subject forward of how nutrition impacts, our trauma healing and our ability to feel safe, and our ability to regulate our nervous system so that we can show up for ourselves and others.
Beautiful, Rita. And you do such an amazing job at that, really. How many of you feel nice and calm and supported and loved in your body just from listening to Rita's voice for 10 minutes? She could have presented, brain surgery and how to do it, and I probably would have retained that. So Rita, your story is amazing, and you taught me the same thing, and you have a way of just showing people what's possible. And I know that that's one of your biggest mission, is just to prove that we're not limited, and for everybody, for what is possible. So thank you so much for your contribution. And if you haven't, if you know any of these ladies, you know that you are left better off having crossed paths with them. And that is something that we all aspire to, is to, nourish ourselves on such a deep level that, Shannon, you're gonna make me cry. Nourish ourselves on such a deep level that that we can't help but impact those around us. And so this has been such a beautiful call. I would love to, I know we were going to do in the news piece, should we do a couple of questions first, or do we have time, ladies, or would I want to just check in with my counsel? Should we forgo or call to action, or questions?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll skip the questions for today and go right into the call to action.
So before we do that, can each of you just really quickly maybe take 1 minute each and tell me why nutrition is the #1 thing that you do for yourself every day for self-love, and what 2 or 3 other tips that you are always sure to incorporate into your day, and to take care of yourself first before you go into the world and take care of everybody else. Kimberly, we'll start with you.
So I am just, again, so amazed, Rita. That was so incredible. And I mean, again, this is all about trusting ourselves. And so when we trust ourselves and we love ourselves, we're in agreement with the choices that we're making. And so for me personally, when I am in agreement with what my body knows that it's for its highest good. And to be able to do that, then the right nutrition for the most part, right, being that it's good for alignment for my body. So, you know, and it doesn't mean that I don't eat something every once in a while, but it's nice to just have the balance. And we know that we have these tools. So to be able to have this nutrition, the best ever, and then just to really help my clients be gentle on themselves. I think that's one of the biggest things in the world right now. We are going to be able to move forward into self-love if we can be gentle on ourselves, and we do not need to be perfect and the whole thing. So, you know, just be so gentle on yourself and stick with it. So
I love it. And it's true. You can literally go get a glass of nutrients and have your whole experience shift. Carrie, do you have any go-tos, and why is making sure you have your nutrition every day so important?
Yeah, just want to say thanks again, Rita and Kimberly. It was great to hear both of your stories. So inspired by you both. And this brings up my point, like surround yourself with people who build you up, who speak similar languages, who are wanting to better themselves. That's a huge piece of it. And then another piece is, if you have never done a transformation, I'd say start there, because it's such a great gateway to true health and regeneration, is starting with a transformation. And then we love meeting people where they're at and taking it to your next best level. And so sometimes we hit plateaus and we can go up another level. And so, you know, connecting with the person who shared this with you and they can help you get started is a huge piece of it. And then having a morning routine of filling your cup up first, like starting your day, whether it's, you know, sometimes I like to do abdominal massage in the morning, or just placing my hand on my heart and on my belly and just like closing my eyes and taking 3 deep abdominal breaths in gratitude for waking up in life. And when you start your day like that, it's amazing how the rest of your day can flow if you just start to even if it's 3 breaths of filling up your cup, or doing that abdominal work and just connecting in. I love to connect in with my womb creative center, and grateful for all, you know, that I've been able to create from this place. And so I feel like as a woman or even a guy, we all have this creative center, even just placing our hand there and just being in gratitude for all our body does, that we don't even have to think about. It digests, we breathe, you know, our heart pumps, like everything, the blood circulates, so being in complete gratitude. And pay attention to how your body feels when you eat certain things. So start to get curious and question, and I can go on, but those are top few.
Love it. And one little trick that one of my mentors taught me one time is just start noticing whether you wake up and you're breathing in or you're breathing out when you first notice your breath. It's just a way to bring mindfulness into the morning and maybe interrupt the pattern of grabbing the phone and instead paying attention and checking in with yourself. So I love that, Carrie. Thanks. Rita, you want to give us a few hacks here for a minute?
Yeah, thank you, ladies. And I try and get 2 things as foundational in my day. One is the nutrition piece, and the other is something that regulates my nervous system. So whether that's playing basketball or, you know, with friends, or doing breath work, or doing hot and cold water, or doing meditation, any of those things that really ground me in my body. And I've had the experience where I've been doing, you know, the self-care piece without the nutrition, and it's not nearly as effective. And I've done the nutrition without, you know, the self-regulating piece, and it's not nearly as effective, but combined, it is so powerful. And I always, you know, start my day out just with my superfoods because it's so easy, and then it's alkalizing the body. And when we get our body alkaline, we're able to absorb our nutrients, where our cells are getting oxygenated, we're able to release toxins and emotions that aren't serving us. So for me, it's just foundational. It is what sets my day up for success. And if I'm having an off day, it's okay, because I have my superfoods to lean on, and it's going to put me on a better trajectory. So I'm so grateful just to have this resource. And we have, you know, superfoods for like any and everything. So, you know, if I want to really work on my nervous system, then I'm going to go towards the Kids in Focus or the Revive It All. Or if I want to really just hydrate and round and alkalize and make sure that inflammation is moving out of my body, then I'll just add in, the cocoa hydrate or one of our green drinks. So it's really fun, and I just play with it every single day based on what my body is asking for.
Self-care with superfoods. It really is the answer. Okay, I'm going to pass it to you, Naiva, and you can please, everybody, grab your phones. We're going to be doing a call to action, and we absolutely love your support. And we've been loving that you're tagging us and making reels out of your posts for the call to action. And we've been sharing them on Million Mom Movement. So let's go, Naiva.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle, and everyone who shared today. Thank you so much. And so I'm really excited about our call to action today because we've actually gone through the detox project. We go over to solutions. Let me see what's going on here. And so when you click on the report, it brings you over to this report where we've actually gone through all the above that contain glyphosate. So we're really excited today with our self-love piece to also be giving love to Hy-Vee today for the non-detective glyphosate in these 3 top foods. So the black-eyed peas, lentils, and old-fashioned oats at Hy-Vee are non-detect for glyphosate. And we're now going to be going down the list of things that are not containing glyphosate and kind of just giving some love to these stores and letting them know that we care and that we are so grateful for the fact that they are making steps to carry products that don't contain glyphosate. And so just like we called them out before for having glyphosate, we want to go give them some love. And so I actually scrolled down this Hy-Vee page quite a ways to find a post that actually made sense to post on. So bear with me, maybe I can share the link in the comments, but I think it's like 12 rows down. So I went down here earlier and actually found something that would make sense to post on, because as you can tell, a lot of these things do contain glyphosate, food coloring, preservatives, and all kinds of crazy things that we don't necessarily want to be sharing love on those posts particularly. So I found this post right here where the woman is sharing a reel about how to make gluten-free tacos. And this one made sense because everything in her cart is mostly organic or non-GMO. And so we'd like to just tell Hy-Vee that we really appreciate the fact that they have foods that don't contain glyphosate and let them know that we actually care. So you'll see that I actually already made a post here through the Million Mom Movement, just letting them know that it's been brought to our attention that these 3 products do not contain the herbicide glyphosate, and that as parents and participants of the Million Mom Movement, we're really happy to just thank them for having products that don't contain glyphosate. And so you can watch this woman go and teach you how to make gluten-free tacos as well while you're at it. And so if you'll please just go make a post on this same reel, that would be so helpful so that they can see that there's lots of us that care about this and that we're really showing some love to them today. And then to take it a step further, you can take a screenshot of your post and share it in your stories and tag the Million Mom Movement so we can share it in our stories and so other people can see our activism in action. So that's our call to action for today. And thank you so much,
Awesome.
Michelle.
Are we going to do the pledge? Can I have Rita read the pledge for us? Do we have time to pull it up and read it? And
Yep.
while we're getting that up, I will just remind you that if you're here as a guest, to please reach back out to the person who invited you here. And we always love to invite you to the Million Mom Movement official page on Facebook. And you can join us every Friday here for health and wealth focused presentations and invite your friends. And please follow us on Instagram. All the links to replays are in the link in our bios, also on the Million Mom Movement YouTube page. And yeah. Go ahead, Rita.
All right. Thank you so much for this call. And I'm going to read the pledge. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free from man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and the environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. Thank you all.
And we are the Million Mom Movement, the movement of many. And I want to just thank my guests and my council members for such a beautiful call and for all of the work that you're doing in the world. This is what the Million Mom Movement is all about. So please join us on our pages, look for the replays, share them far and wide, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.